Okay, we carry on. Appeal. No, you're not going to look at me. You're not going to look at me. Appeal to pathos, logos, ethos, statistics. And there's also appeal to deliberation and appeal to refutation. We're going to look at some real world examples of all of these, but real quick, statistics is kind of like logos in that you're appealing to something logical to make people agree with you, but it's specifically when you include like a number or a stat or like survey data so that, you know, the people who are reading it also feel smart and logical for agreeing with you. Appeal to deliberation is when people say, make sure you get all sides of an argument before you make your decision on this. Get all sides, when really they're saying like, you can get all sides, but my side is the best, so you're gonna go with me. And refutation, the root word, who can tell me the root of this word, refutation? Refute, good job, Taylor. It's thinking of any refutes, counter arguments that people would have and going out of your way to address those before people even make them. It's like when people say, and I can hear you now, I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, well, what about this? And then they answer that. That is appeal to refutation. Let's look at some real world examples. First, we're going to look at one of my favorite singers and a speech that she made when she accepted the Woman of the Decade award. I'm just going to read this second one here. So what does it mean to be Woman of this Decade? It means I've seen a lot. When this decade began, I was 20 years old and I had put out my first self-titled debut album when I was 16. Blah, 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 blah. And I saw that there was a world of music and experience beyond country music. Blah, 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 blah. So she's saying that she's been in this industry for a long time, a very long time, and she's seen a lot, and she has a lot of experience. She's citing that experience and that time in the industry to point out problems in it, and she's saying, because I have this experience, you should believe me. That would be an appeal to ethos. She is using her authority and her credibility to say, hey, believe my argument, believe what I'm trying to persuade you of. Let's look at a couple more examples in this here. We can find a couple in this. This is Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail. He was imprisoned in Birmingham after being present for a riot that was happening. We're going to look at an example of appealing to ethos, which is emotion. It's down here somewhere. Yes, yeah, okay. I guess it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say wait. But when you have seen vicious mobs lynch your mothers and fathers at will and drown your sisters and brothers at whim, when you have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, brutalize, and even kill your black brothers and sisters with impunity, when you see the vast majority of your 20 million brothers smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society, when you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she cannot go to the public amusement park, I'm gonna skip. Then you understand why we find it difficult to wait. So he's using some like graphic, even though they're graphic, they're very real, descriptions that are trying to paint an image in your head and tug at your heartstrings. That's why we call that pathos. I always get these mixed up, sorry. That is emotion and imagery. All right. Now, let's look at some logos. This is Thomas Paine. This is Thomas Paine's Common Sense pamphlet that was published around the time of the American Revolution to convince people to become patriots and not loyalists. We're going to go to page 50. Here we go. I'm gonna read this. But as the same Constitution which gives the Commons a power to check the King by withholding the supplies, gives afterward the King a power to check the Commons by empowering blah, 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 blah. There is something exceedingly ridiculous in the composition of monarchy. It first excludes a man from the means of information, yet empowers him to act in cases where the highest judgment is required. The state of a king shuts him from the world, yet the business of a king requires him to know it thoroughly. Wherefore the different parts, unnaturally opposing and destroying each other, prove the whole character to be absurd and useless. Here, I would say he's using logos, he's using logic to say, hey, they're trying to do checks and balances, but they have a king, an all-powerful king, who can, like, dismantle any of the checks, essentially veto anybody else's say. So it's, like, utterly useless and absurd to even try to have a checks and balances. They're not doing it right. We should do it better. We should be independent, right? So it's easy to remember that logos is logic because it kind of sounds the same. I remember ethos as authority and credibility as thinking like appeal to an ethical person, and pathos like pathological, like emotions. Now, let's look for examples of these three in the examples. I'm going to scroll down to a statistic in this same pamphlet here, if you'll just give me a second. Sorry, guys. There it is. Y'all see these numbers here? So here, he is he's doing his own calculations of the cost it would take to build a navy to fight the English. And these are numbers, so you can say it's appeal to statistics. Numbers, data, things like that. It could technically also fall under logos, but if it's got a number in it, we're going to say it's appeal to statistics. Let's find refutation. Letter from Birmingham jail is an excellent example of appeal to refutation, because that's what he's doing in like every other paragraph, right? Let me find a specific one. Here we go. You express a great deal of anxiety over our willingness to break laws. This is certainly a legitimate concern. Since we so say blah, 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 blah. Saying, I've heard you've been thinking this. Let me explain myself. Or right here, you may well ask, why direct action? Why sit-ins, marches, and so forth? Isn't negotiation a better path? You are exactly right in your call for negotiation. Indeed, blah, 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 blah. See? He does it in like every other paragraph here. He's saying this is what people might use to refute me. I'm going to go ahead and cover that so that I can seem like very well-rounded and having thought of everything else. Counter-arguments. An appeal to deliberation is very broad, so I didn't find an example for that one. But yeah, so these are your terms for today, and I found this great. If you want to take a picture or write something down for your notes, feel free to do that, and I can leave it on the board if you like. Let me think of some examples. If I were to say, oh, these dogs are gonna die if you don't donate to our shelter. What are you gonna do? What kind of appeal would that be? Who can tell me? Pathos. Yes, you're right. Good job. What if I said, wouldn't it just make sense to let kids wear whatever they wanted instead of uniforms at the school? What kind of appeal would that be? Making sense, logic. Anybody? Logos people, thank you. One more. If I said, make sure you see all sides of this argument before you make a decision on where you stand. What kind of appeal is that? Deliberation. Good job, Diamond. Okay. Take another look at this. Would you guys say that I'll leave the terms up here. Would you guys say that you've kind of got this down? If you guys are ready, I'm gonna pull up a quiz for you guys to take. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna pull up a code, and you guys are you can do it on your phone if you want to, or you can do it on a laptop. I think you can do it on your phone. A laptop might be better though. All right. Perfect. Yeah, go to join.nearpod.com or yeah, you guys don't have the app, so maybe your computers are better, and put that code in. Kind of like Kahoot. You're just going to take a quiz at your own pace. And would you guys want me to put on some like soft music in the background while you take this quiz? I got you. Oh, actually, I had classical music, but dude, look at all this I have saved. I can put on some lo-fi. Wonderful. Let me know when. Yeah. Oh, so sorry. Let me leave that up. It went away. Does anyone remember the code? Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Thank you. Is everybody in? Perfect. I haven't listened to this since high school. What do you think of that? Raise your hand when you're done. Okay, perfect. You guys definitely take more time if you want to. Now, this lesson went a little quickly, I admit. That's because you're going to use the rest of this time after you're done with the quiz as an anchor activity. You're going to start looking at topics for your persuasive essay. You can use page 908 of your textbook, or you can Google 9th grade persuasive essay topic ideas, or you can just come up with one in your brain and brainstorm together, because there's probably something you're passionate about. No matter how silly it is, if you're passionate about it, it'll make for good writing. So you can choose your own essay topic. I'm just going to approve it in a future lesson. Are you guys done? You guys are all done? Perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you. I will look at those results myself, and you guys get your textbooks out or get your Googles open and use the rest of the time to look up a persuasive essay topic. And as an exit ticket later, you're going to tell me 3 topic ideas that you have come up with before you leave the class today. Thank you. You guys can get to work. The end of the lesson. I know.